Now we will look into plotting multiple lines in the same plot. It's as simple as the previous one. The only difference is that we have to add the new plots just after the previous plot in the same cell, that is in the same script. Here I have assigned x to this number of values in the array and y, and here I'm plotting x against y using just the dash option, which is the one that we see here. In this case, I am creating another y. Otherwise, if I just leave the y as this, we may not see the plot for the second one. So this is just me using the NumPy module to create another variation of y using, the sine function. I also have a course on NumPy if you would want to improve your skills in NumPy. Looking at this, we would see the plot here, and we can see that it is in the same plot, except that the difference is that the values are not the same, so we do not expect that the plot will be in the same range. And you will see that there is a dash, 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 dash that makes up the plot, makes up the line, and that is because we have specified the ticks, that is how we want it to be displayed. There are also many ways that we can plot our plots using different ticks. We have different values for them. If you actually check the Matplot documentation that I've put at the end of this notebook, you would see there are many of them, and you can use them to draw and beautify your plot as much as you can. You would see that the ZZ with the R dash dash is the one that we have here, and we have the blue square, which is the one we have here. So it's still a line, but we have drawn it using different shapes. And you would see that with the Z times 3, the Z by Z times 3 is the green triangle. What I've done here basically is to create a set of numbers using NumPy array arrange function. As I mentioned, if you want to learn more about NumPy, you can take my NumPy course, but I'm just going to show you what the value of Z is here. So it's just a list of arrays, which you will see shortly. Z is not defined. That's because I've not run this code. And then we can run this, and you can see that it's just a set of arrays of different float numbers. Now, if we want to show the grid of our array, one thing I want you to see here is that the grid is not shown here. You just have a plain canvas with a line plot. If we want to show the grid, the same code is what I've done. The only difference is that I've now added the PLT, which is our matplotlib that we have created an alias for, the grid function, and then we pass in a Boolean value true. That is, we want the grid to be shown. Sometimes this is useful, especially when we are dealing with numbers that are float numbers like 0.1. Maybe we are plotting between 0.1 to 0.5, and we really want to show where each of the points falls within the grid. If we want to do that here, it might actually be difficult to do. And with this, as I've shown you earlier, we can still add our X label and Y label using the X label function and Y label function. Take a pause and see if you can remember the function to add the title. I hope you did. And basically the function to do that is plt the title, and we add whatever we want to title the plot. So I'm just going to say title and run that again. And as you can see, we have a title for this plot in here. The other thing that, I've shown you the title. That's what I just did here for you.
Hello there. If you have enjoyed this course so far, kindly support me and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe will also help you know when newer courses are released. Thank you for subscribing. I do hope you have. Let's carry on with the course.
The other thing that I want to show you is the legend of the plots. You may have seen some plots that they just show us these lines, but we do not even know what they stand for. We do not know what the green stand for, what the blue square stand for, or the red dash. Legends are basically pointers that shows us what the things that we have plotted, what they represent, especially when we are plotting many things inside the same plot. How we do that is using the legend function. And as you see here, we have the plt.legend. And because we have 3 lines inside the same plot, we are going to pass in a list of the values. And the first one here, we can name them according to the values that they represent. So let's say, for example, this first plot represents the line between the temperature and, let's say, the weather forecast for the day, or temperature versus the wind measurement for the day. We can actually then label it measurement of wind against temperature. And as you see here, we are basically giving labels that are easy to understand for each of the plots that we have plotted here. That is what legends are for. Can you use legends in just one plot? Definitely you can do that. In fact, I would say go above and try to look at one of the very first plots that we made, the line plots that we made, and try to add a legend. Remember, because it is just one, you can just put it as a string here. Next, we are going to look at how to do the same thing that we have done here, but in a different way. If you have noticed, in this plt.plot, we have actually passed all the 3 plots into one function plt.plot. That is one way to actually do that. But sometimes to make your code readable, you want to separate this and put it in 3 different plots. And when you do that, you then assign the label in here without having to do the legend and adding it into the legend as we have done here. So we are still doing the same thing, but I'm just showing you a different way to go about it. So you can see, instead of having everything in one plot function, we have separated them, and this helps us to easily add the label into each of the plots. And if we do not initiate or invoke this plt.legend function, it's not going to show. So let's look at that, and we see that it's still the same. If we comment this out, you'll see that it doesn't show the legend, even though we have added it as a label here. This is why it's important to actually invoke the legend function in order for this label that we have put into each of the plot functions to show. Next, we are going to look at scatter plots. And an example project I would like to highlight for this particular small cases that we have done is if we are plotting the website traffic for a particular website over a year. It means that our X could actually be the number of people that are visiting, and the Y could actually be the month of the years.
Hello there. If you have enjoyed this course so far, kindly support me and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe will also help you know when newer courses are released. Thank you for subscribing. I do hope you have. Let's carry on with the course.